Welcome to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Colleen Witt, and today we have special guest Greg Plummer in the building, CEO and managing partner of Concord Collective and Enjoy Repeat. I'm really excited about having him here today because he has to be one of the most impressive entrepreneurs of the season that survived the pandemic and did it on a Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson level.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, and thanks for having me.
And we're talking hospitality industry today, so we're gonna be eating real good. This dish has a lot of moving parts. I would like you to tell me what are the ingredients.
Sure. Well, Colleen, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you for bringing me in today. So today we're making a creamy Cajun pasta.
Creamy Cajun pasta.
And I would say Creole, but I'm not Creole and I'm not Cajun. But just creamy pasta, very comfort food, feeling good.
And this is what you ate when you were broke.
Yeah, absolutely. I always wanted to eat good no matter if I was broke or if I had any money. So I still like to eat the same type of things. I get to eat out and get to try a lot of different food now, but I like to eat the same thing that brings me comfort and reminds me of something that takes me back to like a nostalgic place. So yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, I did a lot of cooking, but when I think of broke in the real true sense of it, it's college, and it's right after college when you needed a meal to stretch, to stick to your ribs, whether you was drinking or whatever. If you had a couple people over the house, you wanted something that you can go a long way, and then everybody just be like, oh yeah, that was cool, whether it be, ladies or, your buddies or whoever. Yeah. You wanted to impress them. So, and I've always been one that really liked to, kind of treat my friends well. So, even if I'm broke, back in the day, I would spend my last just trying to make sure everybody else ate.
Aww, that's good.
It's the truth, though.
But they ate good.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
We'll
you
see.
gotta tell me. So
What are
today
the
the ingredients we have chicken. We have some bell peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, green onions, white onions, andouille sausage. We have some heavy cream. I want to see.
Oh, I hate heavy cream.
We have some Crisco.
Okay.
Garlic, and then any kind of Creole season with Tony Chachere's today.
Okay.
Chicken stock just for a little, to cut the heavy cream. It's crazy. I kind of had the foresight you didn't like it.
And
then
I
Parmesan
hate heavy
cheese.
cream. And then there's
And
sausage.
then we have some noodles. We got
is
some noodles here as well.
This is andouille sausage.
Andouille.
I had to Google it.
Andouille.
Andouille, sorry.
Andouille.
Andouille sausage.
Yeah, and I'm not, so this is the meal. It's super comforting, filling, and then let's get to it.
Let's get to it. So I'm really excited to try this dish. Go ahead. Let's start.
Awesome. Well, let's heat our pan first.
Are you used to working with electric?
Not really, but I'll make it work. I like my pan hot, so I'm gonna turn it up hot, put a little oil in it. Not too much oil because we're gonna brown the meat first.
Now you're from the hospitality industry.
Absolutely.
So did you spend a lot of time in the kitchen?
Yes. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the kitchen when I was a kid. I was really fascinated by cooking and watching cooking stuff, and then working at restaurants. My first jobs was in restaurants. Well, my first job was at a golf course concession stand in Detroit, and after that, I went to work in restaurants downtown. I worked in one of the busiest restaurants in Detroit, from 15 as a busboy, hostess, and it was amazing to see how much energy came to a restaurant, and whether people were celebrating a birthday or just getting a lunch or having a meeting, it was all around food. So it kind of clicked to me. And, ever since then, I just really kind of been really into it. And went to college. And when I was in college at Morehouse, would try to work different jobs, whether it be entertainment, internships, or, working for my family. I had an uncle down there that was doing well at the time. And he let me, kind of work for him. And, always would end up going back to restaurants.
So for our listeners, because I don't think I was able to share with you guys what Concord Collective is, what Enjoy and Repeat is, can you break it down for everybody so that they can kind of have an idea of
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So Concord Collective is a restaurant hospitality company based in Los Angeles, and we operate bars and restaurants in airports. And we have over 13 locations today at LAX. So if you're traveling through LAX, hit us up. And from there, we also have restaurants outside of airports that we're working on, and soon to launch in the very near future.
So you have 13 restaurants, correct?
At LAX, yes, correct.
That's crazy.
It is good. I mean, I worked at LAX. I started my career in 2005, and I came in as an assistant manager after leaving Morgan Stanley. I was unhappy as in finance. I thought that I wanted to do something that really got me going. I got a chance to meet a friend of mine's father who was in the business. He interviewed me. He said, "You can have a job, but just be careful. This is not glamorous. It's not what you probably expect it to be, but you can definitely have a job. We definitely need the help." And I was like, "I'm there."
And you were a manager at a concession stand at this
I
point.
was the lowest of the lowest manager. I mean, I was the assistant manager, closing manager who, basically, worked the holidays. Airports are 24/7.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So I worked the holidays. There was no like regular days off. My days off were Tuesdays and Wednesdays in the middle of the week. So as a young guy trying to figure out LA and then trying to also navigate a career, I just kind of buried my head and worked, and we had a lot of fun, and still had my fair share of fun, but I did a lot of work.
Yeah. And how do you go from that to owning all these concession stands? Like, what happened in between?
So in between, I got a chance to continue working for that gentleman, my mentor, and through CMS, the company I used to work for, we were able to go from being a small, operator at LAX with, 4 or 5 locations to ultimately growing the company from, say, 2011 to 2016 to 19 locations. And I was a big part of that growth with my dear friend and his son, Anwar. And, really, we had to prove ourselves, and we were competing against much larger companies. So, and then also as a small business, you get to, touch lots of parts of the business. You don't just work in one focus. This is my job. I go home.
Yeah.
We were thinking big time, and like, how do we get to the next level? And it required us to do a little bit of everything, even if we didn't want to do it.
I hate to bring up the race thing, but were you guys all black, or are
you? Yeah,
I mean. So your boss at the time was black?
He was black.
Wow.
Most of the employees were minorities. So the airport, they have a program called the ACDBE, Airport Certified Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. So that is a program that really promotes women and minority-owned businesses being included in contracting opportunities in airports. So for the ACDB program, you have to be a minority and a woman, and you have to obviously go through a certain certifications to make sure you meet the requirements.
Yeah.
And he was an ACDB company, and he eventually sold his business to.
Do you want me to turn this down? Sorry.
No, I like it hot.
Oh. As long as everyone can still hear you.
Is it too hot? Okay. Is it too high? Do I need to be louder? I like it hot.
Okay.
And probably people are like, why are you doing that? So yeah, ACDBs, for people that don't know, there are opportunities for women and minority-owned businesses to get into airports. Wow. Yeah.
But do you have to have a lot of money to get in there? Like, shouldn't people?
See, that's a tricky thing, and there are a couple ways to get into it, but access to capital is really challenging for minorities in general, and then there's a lot of predatory lenders out there. But if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bunch of access to capital now, and a lot of resources out there for you to learn where to go get those things. And I'm also one that I always love to talk to people and kind of like give my story, because I didn't come from money. I didn't have money. I didn't have someone say, here's a bunch of money for you to go start a business. And you shouldn't wait for that. But I fast forward, really working for that company taught me everything I did. I learned on someone else's dime. And that's what they tell you, like, don't go out there and say, I want to start my own business, but you really haven't worked in that industry. Yeah. You got to learn what's going on. You got to learn what the opportunity is, and then how you can, provide value. I just added the sausage. My hands are clean, y'all. So we'll mix the sausage and the chicken up.
And he seasoned it with the Creole seasoning too.
Yeah, seasoned with that. I'm gonna add a little more at the end. Just browning off the chicken, then we're gonna have to put it to the side. I'm gonna have to find the vessel to put it to the side though.
Oh, a vessel?
Yeah.
You can use my plate for now.
You sure?
Because I want to continue.
So yeah. So fast forward, that company, he ultimately had a chance to sell his business, which is great because a lot of people don't get a chance to realize that. He sold his business in 2016. That was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life, trying to get everything ready to package up for him to realize his goal.
What was his goal?
His goal was to realize success. I mean, he'd been operating for a long time. He had really took a lot of risk, and it was time for him to kind of focus on, retirement.
And you were the guy that had to package it.
Me and the team, it was a team of us, but I was a big part of the team, and we were obviously cleaning up a lot of things that really need to be fixed that weren't, getting his real value. Go in and tweak those things, change brands. If we had a location that wasn't doing well, we had to change to something that was, so you get the real value for it. Because the real estate is really real estate in the airport. So it's a different type of sense of real estate, but the better the real estate, the more valuable it is from an operating standpoint.
When you're talking I don't know if the correct terms are like retail and hospitality, but don't you guys look at it by like the square footage, like how much money you produce per square foot? Is that how it works in that or no?
Retail typically does that.
Okay.
Right? But for restaurants, it's a little different because, yes, you want to maximize your revenue and square footage, but you also have a lot more components. Like there's a lot more labor intensive to execute a restaurant. It's a lot more equipment to execute a restaurant. In a retail, you get products that are finished and they come in and as much stuff you can fit in a box that someone want to buy, you do it. But for us, it's about getting the right product mix and being able to execute in an airport in a timely manner to be able to get people to a destination without them being angry or waiting too long. So it's kind of like a little dance that we do, but it's fun if you look at it that way.
I worked at McDonald's once and I wasn't successful at all. I wasn't even successful waitressing. I learned that food and me in that business was way too much pressure. There's some things that I'm just not good at, and that is those two jobs I would fail horrifically.
Well, I think, sir, you have a great personality to be able to serve. So, I think
I can lead you to your table.
Yeah, if you're not into it, you're not into it, and that's the real driver to it. I think anything you do has got to be passion involved.
Yeah.
Even if you're flipping burgers, like you got to be like, I want to make this burger so good. Like I want to eat it. My guys, I see them, guys and girls. They're cooking, and it's a lot of pride that goes into that. So I always love it, and I agree. If something's not into, I wasn't into finance, so it didn't work for me, and I was miserable. It was like you couldn't pay me to go there, and I was, late, and I wasn't being my best version of myself. So, I think you got to be into whatever it is you do.
You went to school for business.
Yeah.
Did you foresee that you were going to be an entrepreneur? Because you said you went straight into finance.
You know what? The funny thing is, whether I knew it or not, I was an entrepreneur before I really thought about it. And in college, well before that, in high school, me and my brother and my best friend at the time, we threw one of the largest parties in the city of Detroit, and everything you could imagine went wrong. We had done an incredible job of promoting. We had every venue, every school from every neighborhood came, but didn't think like, oh wow, I'm putting this. Yeah. I'm creating a really hostile situation here.
It's Detroit.
Yeah, so we actually had one of the few parties at this place called the Belle Isle Casino. You ever been?
How old were you when you did it?
I was 16.
You had it at a
16.
casino?
It was called the casino. It wasn't a casino.
Oh, okay.
So we had
I thought you were talking about a house party.
We got there. It's February. It was a Valentine's Day party. We hand drew the flyer, like the little hearts. The hearts with the little message on it, like come to my party. Yeah. I wish I could find this, but we passed them out. We had a huge turnout, and then obviously people started fighting and shooting. People were dancing in Detroit. We danced. So
yeah,
I remember
you guys had the hustle and all that.
Oh, legit. This guy was dancing with this girl, and he punched a hole in the wall. So I see that and I'm like, oh, they're gonna charge us for that.
Yeah.
We got there the night of the venue. I don't want to overcook this, and they say, oh, you can't take money at the door. So all the things that could went wrong, and then we end up still walking away with a little money, but we paid out. We had to fix the grass. People got beat up. It was kind of a mess.
You said someone got shot or no?
They were shooting. No one got shot, thankfully.
And you guys were only 16. Where were your parents?
They were there. My dad, I begged my dad. He was a police officer,
Oh,
and I
okay.
begged my dad to give me the money to do the party because I needed I thought I had the money and it was $1,500 short. So I go to him and my uncles are like, yeah, this the
Yeah.
plan. They're like, I don't know, this sounds kind of crazy, but they took a chance and we got their money back.
Okay, perfect.
And then we had
So
just
you were a real entrepreneur.
it wasn't a LLC or anything like that.
Yeah,
We just
but
did
hey.
it. And then in college, we threw parties. And we did promotion. We passed out flyers. We passed out flyers for some big promoters that I won't name that never paid us. So we got
Oh,
a chance to
dang.
learn early
Yeah.
what being an entrepreneur was, and what we should do better to kind of better serve the guests or the clients. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is about brown.
This smells so good.
It's the boom, boom, boom. Here we
Okay.
go.
Okay,
So,
here. We'll use this.
let me
Oh,
just-
yeah, you can use that one.
So I
We have more
want to get
place.
all the grease out of it because I want to use some of that for these veggies. So next we're gonna saute.
Oh, so you're going to do this veggies. It's okay. We'll get that.
I always make a mess. I'm not the cleanest guy to cook. There we go.
I'm one of those people like I cook and clean at the same time.
You have to, otherwise,
have to, right?
I don't, but you have to.
Okay, so now you got the veggies.
Okay, I want to do these onions first. Let them sweat a little bit, and then
Okay. And I challenged him for all you listeners. I was like, can you make this dish in under 15 minutes? So he's under a lot of pressure right now
no pressure.
as he tells his story.
Tell them a story.
Telling an impressive story. So
So-
the thing that caught my attention about you was I was reading that
Little
during
garlic. I'm
during
sorry.
the pandemic when most people were crying, like myself, I was in fetal position, like, oh my gosh, my business is going under in microseconds. I had an events company, so needless to say, it shut down really fast.
Yeah.
You were out there working and I guess looking for your next opportunity, or was it just a natural pivot? Like,
Yeah.
what was happening?
I remember being at a conference, an industry conference we had. I'm just sauteing the peppers, though, yo. So we were at an industry conference, and then everything was we're riding high, and then come home, people start getting sick. And I was doing some consulting at the time, and I was with a dear friend of mine up in San Francisco. And then we were at a restaurant, which is a Michelin star restaurant, the Angler. And it's a beautiful restaurant. You hard to get a seat in there. But we were on business in San Francisco, and we look around, and we're the only person in the restaurant. We're like, this is scary.
Yeah.
And then later that night, the mayor of San Francisco, London Breed, shut down San Francisco. So we're like, can we get home? And that was the first city to shut down, if you remember.
Yeah.
So I went home, and I was still kind of like, what's going to happen? And then immediately overnight, air traffic really kind of shut down across the country, which is our business.
Yeah, you're in the airports.
Yeah, and our business was struggling beforehand. We were having a hard time just trying to get, things on the right track, because when you open a new business, there are always going to be things you need to correct. So this kind of took the wind out of our sails.
And you guys opened right before the pandemic?
Yeah, we opened right before the pandemic, and then we opened in 2018.
Okay, so
that
a
was
couple years.
A year, like end of 2018.
Yeah,
so
okay.
a year before the pandemic.
Ugh.
So I was a partner, and I wasn't very involved, but I was also doing consulting, trying to get new opportunities and trying to chase new deals. And then everything kind of came to a screeching halt. So when I say, I was really affected because we had to all go home, and I'm thinking to myself, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we were doing, myself and some other partners of mine were working on a golf course project, Rancho Park Golf Course. And we were supposed to take over March 2020. And they're like, well, the golf course is closed down. You can't take over. We're like, okay. So we actually ended up taking over end of April 2020 when things started to reopen, and quickly got it going.
2020 or 2021?
2020. In April 2020, the golf courses were the first thing to open in the city of LA.
Okay.
While everything else, the grocery stores, but everything, other venues, because we're outdoors.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
It was people were allowed to go play golf, and golf just skyrocketed. But then
That's crazy. I had no idea. That was the place to be at this
That was the
whole
place to
time.
be.
We were stuck in our living rooms, and golfing was
you
the
could
place
be outside.
to be. Okay.
And we were there, and I spent time there, and then we were working on like, okay, how do we take advantage of this opportunity? We can't start construction, and we found a contract with the LA Homeless Authority, which is LASA, and they had a project for people experiencing homelessness to take them off the street, and they interviewed us to do meals for these individuals that they had housed in hotels during the pandemic.
Yep.
So the government, we're a government contractor, so it was like, okay, let's go find a government
how are
contractor.
you government contractors? Because of LAX?
Yeah, our businesses, we operate in government controlled facilities.
Oh, okay, got it.
Golf course is owned by the city of LA.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, for the most part. And then also you have the airport, which is owned by the city of LA. So I say government contractors, yeah, we work with government entities. Okay. So we got there where we want to be. We don't want to get too soft. Okay. Because, boom, now we're going to add your favorite part of the meal.
Oh.
We're going to add first.
Wait, did you add green onions? That's at the end, huh?
That's the
okay.
Got to keep it.
Okay, so guys, he just sauteed the garlic, onions, peppers. He's adding
chicken stock.
Chicken stock.
Just a little.
You're a real chef, man.
No, not at all.
I definitely do not cook like this at home.
You got to start.
I'm going to. I'm going to take this dish home. Whenever there's a really good dish, I try to pretend like I created it in front of my husband.
He's going to like this because we have a special type of taste bud from Detroit. He's from Detroit. So we have,
all I know is there's a lot of Lowrys in our house.
We're very colorful taste buds, for lack of a better word.
Really? I feel like Jamaicans have more color than...
We got a little heavy cream now.
Here we go, man.
Really?
I hate heavy cream for all y'all.
So we're just going to build a sauce, not the store-bought Alfredo sauce. Add garlic, you got onions, you got the peppers. So you're going to basically get the sauce.
Oh, he poured all the heavy cream.
No, you're not going to. It's going to be good because I balanced it out with the chicken stock. So we're just going to kind of let this kind of blend together.
Don't mind my face, everyone, because I really, really hate heavy cream. With a passion. Wow. But
we got a lot of cheese and it's going to kind of all work out, right?
So you mix chicken stock with heavy cream. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought heavy cream was like a milk. You could heat it?
Yeah, you can heat it.
Okay.
Buttermilk will separate, but heavy cream is good.
Do you need the Parmesan cheese or
I'm about to get ready for that.
Okay.
So yeah.
We're really learning how to make Alfredo, guys.
Yeah, it's just cheese. I mean, a lot of people use mozzarella cheese, but Parmesan is good for us today, right?
Okay.
And then, so we're doing meals for homeless people experiencing homelessness, and we didn't have the background for that. We just kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
And we ended up making, one day it was 300, and then the week later they said, well, can you make 1,000 meals?
Oh.
And we're like,
oh my gosh.
So imagine, the trial and error. So I think that was a big part of me, kind of figuring out, man, you really can do anything you want to if you want to do it. And so I really kind of just, we were working 7 days a week trying to figure out how to come up with meals, and I was creating recipes or looking at recipes and then trying to figure out how do you mass produce them.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask next. How do you go from getting the contract to now entering a space that you never really entered before, right? Because it's like meal prep, right?
Yeah, it was meal prep, but here's the cheat code, right? Most people say, yes, I'll take the opportunity, and then say, but I need a lot of time to figure it out. If you just say, and it's probably not for everybody, because if you're not built to handle this kind of thought process. If you say, yes, I'll do it, and then you just quickly jump in action and figure it out, because right now, even today, people are still dealing with, whether it be businesses telling them, yeah, we don't have the ability to do that, we don't have the bandwidth to do that, we can't do it. And I think we want to be known as a company that kind of runs towards that kind of stuff. Because you solve problems, you get opportunity, and we were in the problem-solving business. You add a little more cheese, want the sauce to thicken up.
Okay.
And then we're gonna return the meats to the
sauce to the pot. Okay.
So kind of bring it all together.
It looks good. Yeah, I'm one of those people that say yes, and then I look at my schedule where are we gonna fit this today? But I watch a lot of Pinky and the Brain, so.
What are we going to do today? Take over the world, Pinky.
I literally, during the pandemic, painted a mural of Pinky and the Brain in my garage. My neighbors are all driving by
what are you doing?
What's going on?
I'm making myself happy. So we're going to end up adding more cheese, but I just want to start building this in, just going to get the right consistency.
So he's pouring the chicken and the sausage into the sauce.
And you got to try not to make a big mess, which look like I'm doing something.
So you don't need to add more seasoning throughout this whole thing? I'd be drowning it.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay,
absolutely.
Okay.
But, you always can add, you can't subtract.
Oh, yeah. I've learned that lesson before.
Yeah.
Plenty of
Me
times.
too. And I get reminded all the time,
Like,
why are you so salty?
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that before.
And
Then you try to drown it out.
Yeah, it's not. You start over. So yeah, we were doing the meal thing, and that kind of ended up being something big, but it was exhausting work. And then the opportunity with SSP came, and I was a partner with them, and it was a great relationship. But they made a business decision where they wanted to kind of look to exit from the LAX market.
And can you explain to our listeners what SSP is?
SSP is a fabulous company. Shout out to SSP. But they're really one of the leading industry leaders for food and beverage hospitality in airports. And they're a London-owned company, but they have a North American division. And they are really, we essentially do the same thing because we manage food and beverage contracts in airports, and they do travel centers and in Europe, London. But for the most part, yeah, SSP is a food and beverage hospitality management company.
So you had your own concessions in the airport while you're doing the homeless food, and you're a part of SSP?
Yeah. So I had from more or less, yeah. We were a joint venture partner with SSP through the ACDBE, Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, it's a mouthful, program. And SSP, myself, and we had my company and Enjoy Repeat and several other companies were partners in LA. We had operated 8 restaurants in the airport. They were the managing partner. Okay. Meaning they operated the day-to-day restaurants, and we served on a management committee. And then, because I had worked for the company previously, CMS, and I managed the business myself, and I'd done kind of everything. I built a rapport with the airport and URW, our landlord, where they knew that, one, I had the experience to do it, and they were quickly able to get behind me and say, yeah, we like this. And it was really at the time where not just airports, not just cities, where everyone was saying, I want to see more minority participation in a real way, like a meaningful way. And then to me, that was kind of like a light bulb, like, well, they can't say no if you said you want to see more, and I'm bringing something to you, because this is not an easy thing. It wasn't like, oh yeah, sure, just like you sign off on a document. It's a lot of work that goes into this, and a lot of people's livelihood at stake. This business had over 200 employees. That quickly they had to furlough a lot of them, because there was no business in the airports. So it was a lot of things to consider when we really addressed the opportunity and say, well, how do we do this? And then trying to go raise capital. I mean, I made about 100 phone calls, just trying to raise the capital.
To people you knew or people you didn't know?
Both.
Wow.
People I knew, people a little more cheese. I think that's it for us on cheese. And now we're gonna mix with the pasta, because I like to mix.
Clean up
we're gonna season first though.
So you have this opportunity, now you're cold calling, you're trying to raise the capital. So no part of you was like, I don't have this capital, I should just quit. You're like, no, I'm gonna go out and get it.
We're gonna do it. And
you become a salesman.
You
wore a different hat that day.
I've never done that part of the business before. I just knew how to operate the restaurants. I had a bunch of relationships. And the crazy thing about it was, you learn every pitch you go on, you learn something. Or you should anyway. Yeah. So I would go in a meeting, and certain things would stand out to certain investors or certain people looking at my deck, and then I just asked for help. Like, I asked friends that I knew, take a look at this. Tell me what you think. Do you think that I missed something here? And I still do that today, because you need perspective. Like, I don't know everything. I know that to be a fact. Like, and I've always I kind of have a disadvantage. I'm a twin, so I have a twin brother.
I'm a twin.
Are you kidding me?
I'm a twin. Where's that?
Family, I love it.
Does he look like you?
No,
I think fraternal.
Fraternal. If you sat us next to each other, you could definitely tell we're brothers. Okay. But he's a loving brother. He's extremely intelligent, but he knows it all. Okay. And he'll tell you the same thing. So I'm not saying anything he don't know. And so I would always have someone in my ear telling me, "Oh no, you think about this." Okay. So I'm always used to taking criticism. So I enlisted friends, took a bunch of calls, bunch of pitch meetings. People weren't meeting in person. So imagine trying to like sell an idea via Zoom.
Oh my gosh.
It was
the pressure.
It's a special skill. I got a lot of respect for people who do that kind of stuff. All right,
you
here
need
is
that,
how we do this.
this thing to touch it because it's hot. Do you need?
Oh no, I got it.
You sure?
This is not hot.
Oh, okay.
I just want to taste it first to make sure.
Go for it.
Oh, it's too cheesy. It's too cheesy.
Oh, that's hilarious.
We're gonna balance it out though. It's not too cheesy. It's a little cheesy. And I like it.
Okay, okay.
See, you told me it was hard to do this. It is.
So
no,
you're
it's good.
selling.
Finish
You're
it.
selling on Zoom.
Exactly. I'm selling on Zoom, FaceTime. You know, sending people emails. You know, having to follow up every single day because no one's. You know, when you have money, you're sitting there like,
Yeah.
I get to you. And I was getting more and more desperate by the moment. And then every time my partner would say, "Hey, where we at?" I would say, "Oh yeah, we're on the home stretch." You know, like work with me. But they knew.
But was he responsible for also raising capital?
No, my partner's SSP I made.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh,
Yeah, I was trying to SSP. They're like, okay,
they're
Greg,
the people you're raising them. You're trying to buy them out.
Yeah, and they're like, we're under pressure. Kind of give us an update. What's going on? And it was a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, we had a relationship. So, and this was the right thing to do. And you know, I called all the favors I could when I needed to call them. And you know, I would do it the exact same way if I had to do it again, right? So now we're going to kind of mix the sauce.
So you're telling them you're in the home stretch, but you really weren't. What was keeping you from quitting at that point?
Because I told everybody I was going to do it.
Oh, you're exactly like me. That's how I am. If I say it out loud, it's like, oh my God, I have to do it now.
I literally told everybody, oh yeah, so I'm doing this. And they were like, what you up to? How's everything? You know, everybody's checking in. How are things during the pandemic? We were trying to get like, you know, the airport to give us rent relief for different, you know, things that, you know, that really were a hindrance on our business. It was a lot of that, right? So we were doing YouTube videos for the first time, trying to tell our story. So, but then, you know, you talk to friends and like, what are you up to? Like, oh, I'm doing this or this. And so it's a real thing. Like once I said I was doing it, I couldn't face the noise of not being able to get it done. And I think a lot of people doubted that we would get it done. A lot of people thought, you crazy for doing this?
Yeah.
You're crazy. Like, why would you want to do this? And I found a fantastic group of partners through our industry who quickly got it. They believed in.
Oh, you call people in the industry at this point. Okay,
I mean,
smart. That was smart.
Well, after looking outside the industry, you had to come in the industry like, okay, somebody here wants to do it. And a lot of people would take your calls and say, yeah, we want to do it, but we got to, you know, tighten this up. We got to do this.
Well, how do you know they're not even going to like kind of overstep over you, right? Because that's kind of tricky, right? Because you're calling your competitors essentially, right?
Yeah, but I had a non-compete or exclusive for a little bit of time. That quickly elapsed after I couldn't get it done. Meaning like they couldn't sell to anybody else until we reached this deadline. Yeah. So yeah, for the most part, it was a little bit of that. Okay. For sure. So we're ready to plate.
Okay. Yes, let's plate. We'll plate. What a crazy story. So you end up raising the capital, and then we're gonna end up trying this meal and.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it all mixed in, and I said it was cheesy, but it's not easy being cheesy.
It's fine. I'm gonna rate your dish. I'm gonna rate it. And I'm gonna be like Simon Cowell with it. Okay.
I mean, look, you had me preoccupied.
Yes.
So I'm not. So I'll move it here, and then
I'll bring it here. Here we go.
I want to make it look good. Ready? 1 second.
You got this.
Oh, see the noodles?
It looks
just
perfect.
A little more, right? And then we'll plate it, and then we'll put a little on top.
Awesome.
And then a little there you go. Okay. A little hot sauce if you want.
It looks beautiful. Do you need a new plate? Yeah. Here, we're gonna do this. We're gonna switch it. We're gonna throw to commercial. This looks great.
Well, it looks cheesy.
It looks delicious.
Okay, so a little green onion, however much you like.
Oh yeah. Let me try. Let me try and be you for a second.
Boom. Hit it.
Oh, I didn't
You
do
need
it.
more
It's
than
cool.
that.
All right, and then this.
Yeah, a little bit of that. So I
Awesome.
use hot sauce, but we're not gonna do it today
Okay.
because I like it hot.
Here we go for the taste test, everyone.
Ooh, let's
Ready?
go.
Here we go.
Let's see.
First of all, it looks beautiful.
Well,
Now let's see how cheesy it is.
I
I don't even taste great.
It's not cheesy.
No.
It's cheesy.
Do you not like cheesy?
I like cheesy, but oh yeah, the noodles balance it out.
This is delicious.
I got a little concern. Thank you.
I'm definitely gonna bring this home and pretend like I created this dish.
Well, it's very comforting. I'll say that.
I just have one question. Why did you use chicken thighs and not chicken breasts?
Because it's cheap.
Okay, yeah, that was.
Well, back in the day, you can do this meal for like $25. Now you might go, depending on what store you go to, you gotta go to Ralph's or Trader Joe's, or you'll be in real trouble. I live by Gelson's, and I've never seen a more expensive grocery store in my life.
This dish is extremely delicious. It's definitely like one of my top favorite dishes. Hopefully my crew can enjoy it in our little in-between break. I'm gonna take one.
Well, that's good news. Did you tell everybody that though?
Well, I've been hesitant to tell people when their dishes are really bad. Usually the second we wrap and they leave, I'm like, that dish was really horrible.
Yeah, I saw some of the stuff. I was like, really? People ate that?
Yeah. I'd say I'll tell you on this episode. My most hated dish is the tuna casserole.
I love a tuna casserole if done right though.
No.
It wasn't right?
I'll never do it again. Don't ever want to hear it again. It was out of all the dishes I've even had the mussels on the crackers. I will do that before the tuna casserole.
The mussels like from the can?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Ooh. Yeah, that's bold. We had a guy in our neighborhood named T, and he would eat the Vienna sausage or like the oysters and the mussels from on the can. I'm like, dude, obviously T had a drinking problem, so he just eat whatever he could. So.
Now we're gonna close this episode out, but I do have a question for you. Just two more questions. Out of everything that you've accomplished in your career thus far, what would you say was the hardest accomplishment?
I think the hardest part for me was actually believing that I was good enough to do it myself. And like I was able to bring value to so many other people. But then when you don't look at yourself as the guy who should be, receiving the blessings, it's easy to put yourself there. And I was always good at like showing up for other people. And then the biggest part was me to show up for myself and like really show up. And, I had a lot of pressure, not just, from a debt standpoint, but pressure to perform because, I really want to be great at what we do. I really want us to be recognized as one of the best. And that's not going to be easy. You can't say that and not say that I'm going to put in the work to do it. So the biggest part for me was believing I could be the guy and I could actually make it happen for myself. I know I can make it happen for others.
Yeah.
Because there are so many components I'm really good at, but then you got to surround yourself with people that are really good at the other stuff, so you can actually, get to the common place of where you really want to be at. So that was the hardest part. The rest of the stuff, this deal was great because it energized me. It gave me a whole new purpose coming out of this pandemic, and it was someone who said it to me, and I was like reading books and listening to podcasts, and they were, really opportunity comes when there's chaos. Opportunity comes when you least expect it. And I know I was ready. I put in, 15 years doing this. So it wasn't about, at that point, can I do it? It was like, oh, I'm doing it and let's go. Because I also like making decisions and,
you like making decisions?
Oh yeah, I love making decisions. I want to be the guy to make the decision because I'm equipped to do it. Yeah. And I know the right decisions, and I'm not a scary person. I don't think from a scary mentality. So because I've never had anything, so it's not like I'm gonna lose everything. I didn't have anything. Yeah. So it's easy for me to say, just take the leap. But then, that's it really. Once you mentally get yourself there, and it's kind of all downhill from there.
Do you I look at you and I feel like a lot of your success kind of goes back to you being able to say that you're going to do something and then doing it. So I think that from an outsider looking in, we didn't get to dive as deep as I would have liked, but I feel like the reason why you were able to even raise the capital to do what you were able to do is because people knew your work ethic, and they knew if you said you were going to do something, you were going to do it.
You nailed it. I mean, the people that invested in me, I didn't even know that they were paying attention from afar. And one thing I pride myself on is showing up for people, doing the right thing, and really kind of doing, not just doing it to say I check a box, but doing it to do it.
And you did it with integrity.
Oh yeah,
so much integrity.
I mean, and obviously there are moments where you kind of have to like bend your standard of integrity, because I was telling my partner, I got it all figured out, but it was a white lie, because I knew I was gonna figure it out. But there was a moment where I had to basically come clean and tell him, like, I got some real challenges, and wish I would have just did that from the beginning, because it would have took a lot of pressure off myself, because they were really coming. SSP was really coming in position, like, wanting to help me, because it was the right thing to do. Like, I was helping them they solve a problem, like being able to get out of this opportunity and then provide an opportunity for someone else who wanted it, and it made a lot of sense. So I think, integrity was critical, but just being honest with yourself and saying, all right, I may not be able to pull this off, or here's the challenges, because people want to help you. But if you're acting like it's all good, then can they really help you? Because where do they help you? How do they know to help you?
Yeah, I agree with that to a certain extent, but at the same time, I feel like you put yourself under just the right amount of pressure to like create diamonds. My last and final question, and I promise you, we will wrap.
Oh man, I love this. We can do this all day.
This is the question. This is the thing that I admire the most about you, and I struggle with as an entrepreneur, is the pivot. I love your pivots. Like, your pivots, they look from afar very graceful and very like, wow, what an amazing pivot right there. How are you able to pivot as much as you have? Like, what is the secret behind your pivot?
I just want, I don't, thank you for the compliment. I'll say that. The second piece is, if you have to, you have to. Like, I didn't really have a choice. I could have said, I was gonna have to deal with it one way or another. And I wanted to control my narrative. I wanted to be in, kind of driving the ship. And I thought that, this is my opportunity. This is my moment to like kind of make history in our industry, do something that, it'd been talked about for a long time. And really, when I was looking at capital, that was a big part of it, but really align with the right people who also wanted to do the right thing and kind of like make history and do something that really had never been done before. So the pivot comes when, one, you have to be ready and prepared. So, well,
not all the time you're ready and prepared. Like,
well,
with
you
the
gotta
homeless,
be ready.
I
You
guess.
gotta be ready, meaning you gotta have a framework to be ready, right? You gotta be in the building.
Yeah, you gotta.
For me, I was in the building, and from the outside, people thought, oh, you got this, you own a percentage of a business, which I own a percentage of that. I have partners, right? I have great partners, and we all want to see each other win. But I own a percentage of a business where I was really kind of just along for the ride, whereas today I'm making a difference. And the pivot came because I wanted to be the person. Like, I always knew that I could do this, and that's kind of really the driving force behind everything our team is doing, because we really are like really competing against big boys, like big companies who do this on a global scale. And I think we speak to a different person who wants to work for a company. They say, I want to work for a company that looks like that. They get me. They come from where I come from. I come from the same background as many of the people that work for us. I worked in the industry. I did all the work. I'm not telling them to do something I haven't done myself, and I still do it. So it's all about just remembering all of that, kind of putting it all in a pot, and kind of
making it work.
So.
Well, thank you for an amazing meal on another episode of Eating While Broke.
Bingo. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much. It's awesome. Okay.
Dang, the intro sucked.
The outro. Okay. The
outro.
Okay.
My
outro.
We
gotta bring our energy levels up.
I mean, just for safety. It's like
That's because in the back of my mind, I'm like, dang, I got to cut it short. I got to cut it short.
We can cut out a lot of filler, huh?
Well, thank you so much for blessing me with one of my favorite meals on the show.
Oh, thank you.
And even though we're on camera and I'm not, I'm going to clean this plate the second the camera cuts.
I'm hungry too.
Yeah, no, you did an amazing dish. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and answering my LinkedIn DM.
Please, hey, that's the only DM I'm looking at right now.
For real?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's where the action is.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, what? Somebody wants me on a podcast, so thank you for having me, and thank you for finding me interesting enough to be on your show.
And now when I go to the airports, which I'm always at the airports, instead of just going straight to the Delta Lounge, because I'm a Delta Lounge fanatic, I will be like, which restaurant are we going to today?
So we in Delta, I'm a Delta person too. We are opening Alfred. If you're familiar with Alfred, the coffee brand, in the Delta terminal later this year. So that'll be our kind of latest and greatest. But yeah, please feel free we're gonna put you on the VIP list. They're gonna see your face and say,
Is there such thing? There's no such thing as that.
There is. It's an unofficial. But there are people that you get all the love when you come through.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys heard that here on Eating While Broke. I'm gonna hold them to it.
That's it.
All right. Peace.